broadcast for shooters, hunters, and gun enthusiasts. This is the Firearms Radio Network. This edition of Gun Guy Radio is supplied by Alien Gear Holsters. AlienGearHolsters.com.
Welcome to episode 149 of Gun Guy Radio. This is a podcast that shines a positive light on the firearms lifestyle. I'm your host, Jake Challand, and this is your weekly dose of positive firearms talk without the politics. And this week we have special guest Paul Levy, the category manager at Brownell. Hey, Paul.
Hey, Jake. How's it going?
It's going great. Crazy time of year. Christmas is, wow, is that only a week away of this recording?
It is. It snuck up on us.
And we're gearing up for SHOT Show. I know you guys are, like crazy.
Oh, yeah. It's a little hectic. We get the holidays, trying to get orders out and everything taken care of there. And then we got SHOT Show planning, all kind of stacks. So it's a fun month or so.
And I hear you guys, if anyone's listening has been to SHOT Show, you probably have known Brownell's has been on the lower level, but you guys are up on the higher level this year with all the big names, I guess you could say.
Yeah, we were previously in the basement, with the low ceiling. This year we're going to be upstairs. We're right inside the front safe. If you're familiar with the area of the Sands, the upstairs doors, right at the top of the elevator, you walk through there, you'll see the Brownell's booth, front and center. And we're looking forward to seeing everyone. We're pretty excited. We've never been upstairs. Like you said, we're right next to some pretty big names. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be very interesting.
Very cool. Well, we actually were planning on doing some short little clips with some new products, you and I. So that should be cool as well.
Yeah, we are going to have a few products to show off from Brownell's and then also from a few other vendors. So stop by the booth and check them out, and we'll also have some videos talking about those.
Very cool. Well, if you're still doing some last-minute shopping, please check out our affiliate links at Amazon and Brownell's. Help support the show. A small proceed goes back to us, and it keeps this program free for you to download on demand. So check out the Amazon affiliate link at firearmsradio.tv/Amazon, and also the Brownell's affiliate link at gunguyradio.com/satisfaction. Well, let's get right into the main topic then. I guess we're premiering something on video for the first time here.
Yeah, that we have the Brownell's 308 or 7.62 magazine. This is one of the prototypes, but pretty close to what the production version is going to look like. For the audio listeners, you can check it out on our website right now to pre-order. It's going to be available. It's going to be shipping in January. It's a 20-round 308 magazine for the 308 AR platform, the DPMS pattern, the Knight's armament pattern. And it's unlike the other magazines on the market, it's aluminum, like the standard GI spec M16 magazines. So we took all of our knowledge from producing magazines for the military and the commercial market and put it into this platform. You might notice that it looks very similar to a 20-round magazine. It's the proven design that's it's up there as far as how long it's been around, but it works. I brought in a 20-round AR-15 magazine just for reference, and it's its bigger brother. As far as the feed lip geometry and everything else, it's pretty similar there. You can see the follower is a little different. We're going with the tan follower. The stack is going to be on the opposite side, like the current GI magazines. The feed lips are the same as far as how they are formed and how they present the round to the feed ramps. So if you're familiar with our 20-round GI magazines, you're going to get the same construction, rigidity, proven reliability in the 308.
So this episode, we're going to talk a little bit about some parts you might consider when building a 308, and of course, magazines are very important. A lot of times when you're having feeding reliability issues. It comes down to the magazine. So it's very cool to see that you guys are producing your own high-quality Brownells branded mags. Yep. Now back to the ammo stack, rabbit trail here. How do they determine which side of the mag to stack that top round?
And this came about the current GI issue magazines, which we can't actually retail. You'll hear people say, "Oh, I bought these Brownells magazines with a tan follower." We can't actually sell those to the public. Those are military issued magazines that come with that tan follower. And that during the research, the military's research, that when they came up with that follower, they reversed the stack. There is some debate on why they did that. One thought is, well, just to tell the difference in the follower. There's also some belief that during testing there was a small percentage in reliability increase when they switched the side in full auto and high RPM testing, that for whatever reason that it was more reliable. It is a very small fraction of a percentage that it improved, but why not if it helps a little bit? That's at least the story that I was passed down for why TACCOM decided to reverse the stack.
Okay.
So and we kept that in the 308. So it's and we kept a tan follower with mimics somewhat of the GI style currently. This one is it's not anti-tilt because it's a straight body magazine. You do want it to tilt, otherwise you'll have binding and just generally an unreliable magazine. You'll notice in any 20-round magazine you purchase that's straight bodied, that follower does tilt, and we retain that in the 308. And I can take it apart here in a second just to show you how the follower looks. It is a little bit different than maybe some other followers you've seen in the past. The raised portion, to differentiate the stack, it just simulates a round there. The body is aluminum. It's dry film coated, just like the GI mags. And that's needed because if it's just bare aluminum, the rounds will cause too much friction. So you need this lubricant, this gray coating, to make sure rounds feed smooth. And we carried that over. So when you pick it up, it feels pretty good, feels solid. A lot of the steel magazines, if you've handled them, there's something about them that just feels different. This is actually lighter than polymer magazines on the market by about an ounce. I was weighing them this morning, and that's about how much lighter it is. So even though it's metal, it's less than a polymer magazine, just due to the thinner walls. But it still has the same strength and rigidity.
Right, and they're a really good price point right now. Currently, as of today, you can pre-order them for $19.99 each. So.
Yeah, so we're in that great price point, less than $20, so you can stack them deep if you need to. We've already got a bunch of people pre-order them because they want to try them out. We're pretty excited about them. And we are, speaking of SHOT Show there earlier, we are going to have them at the media day. We're partnering with Aero Precision. We're going to be showing them off at their range portion. So we'll have some magazines there to test out, or for people to feel and see how they actually perform in the firearm.
Oh, I'll put that on my list to stop by there on range day. So
there you go.
I think this is a good time to be talking about the 308 7.62 platform because I think a lot of guys in the last year or two have gotten into the black rifle craze, and they've had their taste of the AR-15s, and now they may be thinking about, well, what's next?
Yep. The 308's a great stepping stone, I suppose, from the AR-15 because it's so very similar as far as how it operates, but it gets you in a different caliber, and it's one of those other things to experiment, to build. But there are some things to keep in mind. You can't just, I built an AR-15, I can just buy similar parts or the same parts and go from there. There are some things that you can and can't do, and you can actually run into some trouble if you don't keep some things in mind when you're building your 308. So I brought one in. I brought in actually one of my preferred rifles to shoot. It's just kind of one I put together from parts I found here at Brownells. You can, of course, build your own rifle when you work a place like this or shop around. Some of the things that make them unique, or the things you have to watch out for, first is the buffer system. You can't just buy an AR-15 buffer and a buffer tube. You have to buy a specific 308 tube. Or if you keep an M16 carbine tube, you're going to have to buy a shorter buffer because that, at least on this type of platform, the carrier is actually longer than an AR-15 carrier and needs that extra length to travel. If you don't accommodate for that, well, your rifle's not going to function. It just doesn't have the travel.
Interesting. Huh.
And the one I actually have in here, I'm going to take it apart here real quick. I got to bring that bolt forward. The one I have in here is actually from Heavy Buffers, and it's a short buffer. It's a little bit heavier than a standard carbine buffer that you might find in a standard 308. But it allows you to use pull it out here. It allows you to use a carbine length mil-spec stock on a 308 rifle. And I've probably put about 1,000 rounds, maybe a little bit more through this rifle, and never really ran into any issues. And you can see here on video, it's just a shorter buffer. It's probably about 2.5 inches, and it has some weight to it. So that just helps with cycling. Make sure you don't have bolt bounce, which is more of a problem on short AR-15s. But this is the part I'd really recommend. And then JP also has their new silent capture spring. They also have that for 308. So that's one part that doesn't cross over. You're really going to want to make sure you do some homework on and pick it out.
So the silent capture spring, is that coated with something? Or?
No, it's basically the silent capture. It's pretty much like a pistol guide rod with bearings around it to act as.
We've talked about that on a product.
And what it does, it does have O-rings in between those pieces of, I believe, steel or aluminum. And it's just silly smooth because it's a small spring inside of this recoil system. So instead of that sproing everyone just heard with me putting that rifle back together, you just hear this slick action. It's really pretty nice, and it just smooths things up. If you've ever handled a JP Enterprises rifle, it's just they're smooth. Everybody. A consistent reaction I hear is like it's on ball bearings, the charging handle, the bolt carrier, the recoil system. That's why they're priced where they are. They're just nice rifles.
Okay, since we're on the buffer end of things, let me ask a newbie question for the 308 platform. Can you use AR-15 butt stocks and all of that?
You can. So if you buy any of the tubes, the commercial or mil-spec, they're going to be the same for 308 and for AR-15s. However, say if you're putting you want to buy a PRS, the Magpul PRS, or anything with a cheek piece, you have to account for that longer travel of the charging handle, because you'll notice that comes back pretty far. There's two different PRS stocks from Magpul, an AR-15 and a 308. On the AR-15, it's just a little bit closer. So if you put that on 308, you wouldn't be able to operate the charging handle. So make sure you buy the 308 PRS.
So is that why you sometimes see different versions? Other companies have different versions of the butt stocks as well?
Yeah.
Is to do with the charging handle? Or
if it has a cheek piece, that's the primary reason. Okay. Otherwise, any standard stock will swap. Like an A2 stock will go on an A2 tube. This is just a standard MOE stock, mil-spec stock. I didn't buy a 308 version and just threw that on. And you will notice a lot of the lower components are the same. And let me get this up a little closer. Grips are, of course, the same. Lower parts kits are, for the most part, the same, with the exception of the receiver, the takedown pins, the magazine release, and really that's about the extent of it. Some triggers are not compatible, but you have to read that on just the company's triggers. It's just due to how the hammer interacts with the bolt carrier. That's the big issue.
But for the again, a newbie question, for the most part, the pistol grips and the triggers are probably going to work.
Yeah, I could probably just cover just some of the common parts.
Sure.
Your end. I'll start from the rear. So your buffer tubes, you can use those as long as you use the proper buffer. The springs are different, so make sure you get the proper 308 spring. Your castle nut end plate, that's going to be the same. Trigger pins, safety, grip, those are going to be the same. Forward assist is actually the same. Ejection port is, of course, going to be different. Charging handle's different. Barrel nut. Gas tubes are actually going to be the same. And gas blocks. And then that's pretty much it for common parts.
Okay. I think
there's some small roll pins and that sort of thing that are the same. But your major components, just due to the sheer size of the round, it's going to be different.
I think that's where some people get a little bit confused. Is the 308 platform, is everything completely different? Like everything's scaled up or something like that, or
Yep. And really, the receiver it's essentially, well, really an AR-15 is a scaled down 308.
Right.
But the 308, the lower, the upper are basically elongated to accommodate the longer cartridge. The barrel, which I actually have some stripped barrels here, I'll show you. The barrel is where you see the big differences. And just due to the sheer size of the diameter here at the rear, that's why you can't have the same handguards either. You'll have to have a specific barrel nut for 308 and handguard. Now, the DPMS's new Gen 2 pattern does accommodate smaller diameter handguards, but for the most part, they take different handguards and barrel nuts. And you'll see here, just at the chamber end, it's pretty fat under the chamber. An AR-15 barrel is normally 1 inch. This is just a little over 1 inch in diameter. And that's why handguards, if you're putting polymer handguards, like, the classic GI handguards or MOE handguards, you'll often run into trouble trying to put them on the 308 because there's just not the room to get them to clasp around that big diameter at the rear. So you'll have to modify your handguards if you want them to fit, if you're using that type. Free float handguards, if you buy 308, there's no issue. They just install just like an AR-15. And that's the great thing about the platform. Once you get familiar with the AR-15 or M16, these parts go together just the same. There's no difference there. Outside of, say, the forward assist or the bolt catch, everything assembles the same. The bolt catch usually has a roll pin, or a screw instead of a roll pin to hold it in place. So, really, those are the big things to look out for. Go ahead.
Well, and correct me if I'm wrong, but if someone's in the process of doing a build and they're trying to decide, is this the right part, they can just give you guys a call, right?
Oh, yeah. We got our free technical service line. Just call in. Our techs are well-versed on, of course, the AR-15 and then the 308. And they'll tell you, yes, you can buy that. No, you can't buy that. And it's completely free. You can talk to them for an hour asking questions. It's free. So if you have any concerns, check that out. There's, of course, so many resources out there. Back to the barrel. At the gas port, or the gas block shoulder, that's usually the same. It's usually going to be 750 or 936, something like that. So you can just buy an AR-15 gas block. You don't have to buy one that's labeled 308. Your muzzle devices, for the most part, are going to be threaded 5/8 24. So your half 28 flash hiders, muzzle brakes, they're not going to fit on here. And you do have to buy a different crush washer for that too, or shims. So one more thing to keep in mind.
So the gas tubes will be the same for the most part.
Yeah, so if you're buying a carbine, mid-length rifle, all that nomenclature is the same for the 308. It's going to utilize the same gas tube. It doesn't protrude quite as far into the receiver, but it doesn't need to function for whatever reason that might be. And that's pretty much where the common parts end. I don't know the exact count on the common parts, but it's probably like 40 or something like that, just mainly small parts. Really, if it comes to operation, you've got to buy 308 specific, especially the bolt carrier. That's the big one.
Alien Gear Holsters, the most comfortable and concealable holsters on the planet, is offering big savings with our new 2-holster combo. Now you can buy 2 complete holsters for as little as $49.88. Choose from any available holster styles and colors for the guns of your choice. All of Alien Gear's quality products are made right here in the USA and include a 30-day trial, forever warranty, and free shell trades for life. Visit aliengearholsters.com today.
All right. Well, speaking of 308 specific, do you want to move on to the ACOG?
Yeah, we'll talk about that guy on the top of this rifle. It's probably as much as I spent on the rest of the rifle here. This one right here is a TA-33, and I wanted to talk about the ACOG and this particular model just because the great thing about ACOGs is you can get the reticle matched to whatever cartridge you're shooting. This one just happens to be matched to 308. I believe shooting it out of an 18 or 20-inch barrel, the 100 and whatever the GI bullet weight is, 150 or so, or 149 grains. So that's great. It's basically I don't have to fiddle with adjustments out to about 500-600 yards. And that's nice. The other great thing is just, of course, the durability on an ACOG. You're shooting 308, you don't have to worry about beating up a scope. If you don't spend the money on good optics on a 308, just due to that mass moving forward, they can be a little bit tougher on your bargain basement optics. You might destroy your cheap scope mounting it on a 308. But if you spend some money on some good glass or red dot, you'll be fine. It's really about that mass coming forward that really messes up a lot of optics. They're just not designed to handle that. They're designed to handle recoil. But on this ACOG, I've shot at least 1,000 rounds to this. Haven't run into an issue. The other nice thing about this is a 3-power. I bought the 3-power because it has a little bit longer eye relief. Of course, moving up to 308, you're going to have a little bit stiffer recoil. I didn't want to have chips taken out of my glasses when I'm at the range.
Right.
So that's one thing to keep in mind. You may not normally look at the eye relief on an optic. If you're putting on a 308, just take another look. Make sure you're going to have some room. This one's up close to 2 or so on the eye relief, so plenty of room there. You can see even how far forward I have it mounted on the receiver. So it's got plenty of room there.
Yeah, that's something I heard recently, that the different ACOGs do have different eye relief, and some of the military ones are shorter eye relief. Is that right?
Yeah, the TA-31, the 4-power is very short. When I fired those are almost touching my glasses. And on an AR-15, that's not really a big deal. But really, I'd recommend it if you're getting an ACOG on your 308, make sure you check out the eye relief. Or really any other optic. I don't know why that is on some models. This has a smaller tube diameter than the 4-power TA-31s and optics like that, or the TA-01. This one's been pretty good, and the eye relief is nice and comfortable. And then, I did mention this earlier, but iron sights, your iron sights are going to be fine. They're going to adjust the same. And the nice thing about moving from an AR-15 to 308 is really ballistically, the rounds are fairly similar as far as trajectory. And if you're shooting iron sights, if you have adjustable rear sight for elevation, you're going to be pretty close as far as whatever those markings are on that elevation drum. So that's the nice thing about 308 too. You don't have to buy completely different sights to get it to function.
All right. Well, very cool. I think you brought a ton of information to the person maybe considering doing a first-time 308 build. Okay. So can you speak to that person just for a second? Let's say they're ready to make that leap. What should they consider doing first?
Do some research, read around. There's plenty of resources out there. We got videos on this sort of thing as well, or just the product videos. Just kind of picture how you're going to build that rifle. Get an idea of what you want it to do. I tell people this before they go off and add a bunch of accessories too, is before you do that, actually think about what you're going to do with the rifle and what purpose you want it to fulfill. So keep that in mind. That's the big thing. If you haven't built an AR-15, you can do a 308, but the AR-15 just gets you more familiar with the operation and how it's going to function, and it's going to be less expensive to get into. But the great thing right now is we're in a great time to be building 308s or getting into them because the prices are falling on the components. You can build one or purchase one for less than $1,000 now, whereas before they were $1,500 rifles to get put together or purchased. So now it's really getting close to that AR-15 price range, which is good to see, and we're seeing that in our customer reaction to what we put out there, and hopefully with that magazine too.
Yeah, absolutely. And, there's more and more shooting sports that are incorporating 308 as well. So
yeah, at a few 3-gun matches, at CMMG actually this summer, I shot with this rifle. They have heavy metal and heavy metal optics at this particular match. So you can shoot all the same stage of the 308. You're in a different class. So it does take a little bit more time sometimes to engage those close targets with the 308. But it's becoming more, I wouldn't say acceptable, but there's more events that are friendly to the 308 than, say, in the past.
Well, very cool. Well, last time I think we maybe hinted that we're going to have some pre-SHOT Show stuff here. And
yeah.
So we got one item we can kind of
the 308 magazine is the main one, and I did want to mention a few others, but I don't have prototypes I wasn't really happy with the builds to be able to show them off. We have some 3D printed versions, but I want to get the prototypes in here, and we'll be able to talk about them at SHOT. The first one is pretty cool, and it's been used on rifles in the past. There's just not a good option out there, but it's going to be a long radius flip up or front sight for, say, an AR-15 or 308 AR. So obviously there's a lot of front sights out there right now. They mount to the rails, or they're built into a gas block. And we all know that the longer your sight radius, the more accurate you are, the longer the distance. So what we're going to implement is a long radius front sight that simply is low profile, clamps to the front of the barrel. You can mount as far out as you want. You won't have to remove your flash hider or muzzle device. And your sight can be up close to the muzzle device, giving you the longest sight radius possible. It's been out there on competition rifles, on all sorts of things for quite some time, but there's really been no clamp-on, just front sight only device for the AR-15 that really suits what a lot of our customers are looking for, is that simple, low profile option that makes sense for them. It makes sense price-wise, too. You could do things in the past, like mount this YHM gas block up there, but there's a lot of unneeded bulk there. It serves another purpose anyways, and it's not intended to mount to that diameter barrel. So we're pretty excited about that.
Cool. Very cool.
It's really just a nice front sight option. And then the other advantage of that is you don't have to worry about having a Picatinny rail on your handguard. You don't have to worry about mounting a front sight to your gas block. And another thing with mounting it to a handguard is you will get some flex. Say if you're shooting prone, your handguard will move. Even though it's free float, the handguard's going to move. But the whole point is to have your barrel stay put. So your handguard is moving independent of your barrel, and then you're getting impacts moved off. So that's one more benefit. And it's going to be a nice little flip-up front sight that should be pretty handy for a lot of people.
Very cool. And so anything else you can hint at?
We have a version right now on our website. It's from Sirac Ordnance. It's a low-profile piston kit. If you check that out, I don't have a version here. Hopefully I have one here before SHOT, and we'll have one on display there as well. What it is, it's a low-profile piston kit that fits under a lot of existing handguards. The big complaint with a lot of piston conversions is they have a gigantic gas block and then gigantic piston that most wouldn't fit under this Apex handguard on an AR-15. This would be AR-15 specific. But the Sirac Ordnance, the low-profile gas block and the piston will fit under free-float handguards. So it's pretty much any free-float handguard on the market. They're getting the final tally on what all they'll fit under. But the Brownell's exclusive version is going to be nickel-boron coated. The current version is salt bath nitride. The version we're going to have is going to be nickel-boron on the carrier, the piston, and the regulator. And I believe the block itself is going to be ion bond. So the advantage there with nickel-boron, of course, it's been well published, is that it's slick, it has a higher coefficient of friction, it's hard, and it's just easy to clean.
Yeah.
So that's the version we're going to have there at SHOT Show. It's going to look pretty good. We're partnering with WMD Guns, Sirac Ordnance, to kind of put that together with the nickel-boron finish. It's going to look pretty cool, I think.
That's awesome, because I'm accumulating parts for my AR-15 pistol still. But I have another branded piston system for that, and that's my issue. Is I have a very limited amount of handguards that I can pick from that will fit around. And then all those handguards in the past, they're big, bulky Picatinny quad rail handguards, which nobody wants anymore. They want a slim, free float handguard. And even on a pistol, it allows you to do that. So now you could mount up that gas block and that piston kit and then have the free float handguard extend over it and maximize your barrel space. You're not having a bunch of barrel protruding forward that's useless, especially on a pistol. Right. You want to be able to utilize as much space as possible. Yeah. So that's awesome. It's pretty cool. Yeah, very cool. Yeah, there's a link to a version of that in the show notes on your guys'
And I should mention too, it's adjustable. So like an AR-15 adjustable gas block, like from Sirac. you can fine tune it just so you get the perfect gas setting to your ammunition or your recoil preference. So that's going to be another great thing about it.
Very cool. Well, let's see here. Next time we do a Brownell's Spotlight episode with Paul, I think is going to be right around or after, probably after SHOT.
Yeah, that'd probably work best, just so we can rehash on any new products we saw or stuff we're going to be carrying soon. Because following SHOT, that's the whole reason we go to SHOT, is to figure out what new products we're going to be carrying for the year, at least the first portion of the year. So that'll be great to fill everybody in on what we saw, what we liked, and then what Brownell's is going to have in the near future.
Right, I didn't even think of that. You, as the category manager, you're probably running around meeting people, seeing new stuff, and
yeah, I've got a fun schedule of running around. So it's great though, because I get to interact with pretty much everybody in the industry as far as on the parts side. I handle all the parts here at Brownell's. So basically, if you see any parts in the rifle, handgun, shotgun, or magazines categories, I'm interacting with those suppliers, get to see the products early, find out what they're going to be doing for the year and what they got planned, and how it's going to work best so we can get it to market for everybody to purchase. So it's pretty fun. That's one of the great things about the position. So it's exciting.
I'd like to thank Duluth Trading Company for sponsoring this episode. Check out the Duluth Trading Company free swinging flannel. I'm wearing a Duluth flannel right now, and it's high quality, heavyweight, 100% cotton. It's got the armpit gussets, so you got that freedom of movement and everything. And, really high-quality tradesman's fit flannel from Duluth. So check out gunguyradio.com/Duluth. And also, consider crowdfunding this episode of Gun Guy Radio by pledging little as $1 per episode. It's an easy way for you to support the shows you listen to on the Firearms Radio Network. If you pledge at $1, we'll send you 2 stickers, 1 Firearms Radio Network and 1 Gun Guy Radio sticker. If you pledge at $5, we'll send you an awesome Gun Guy Radio morale patch. I'm looking for all my stuff to hold up to the camera, and it's out of arm's reach. And then at the $15 level is our big battle box full of swag that we send out every few months. And you'll get LA Police Gear bailout bags, LA Police Gear hats, tactical flashlights, $50 Duluth Trading Company gift card, the Duke Cannon Supply Company. The ammo cans behind me are full of, those are gift sets of 5 big-ass bricks of soap. That's right, manly soap, 3 times the size as regular soap. And limited edition, gift set there. And gungoddess.com. That's right, gungoddess.com. $25 gift cards. Too much to list here, so check it out. Patreon.com/week, or look for the Patreon logo on gunguy.radio.com. And last but not least, if you need some awesome graphic design, check out Hunter of Design. That's Ryan Cross, Hunter of Design. He does all the awesome artwork here on the Firearms Radio Network, hunterofdesign.com. Well, that about wraps us up. So you can leave your feedback or check out the links to products we talked about this week by going to gunguyradio.com/149. And also, don't forget to subscribe and leave us an iTunes review. And please consider joining the NRA and the Second Amendment Foundation. I'm a member of them both. And, they do things that we just can't do as individuals, but collectively we can do great things in bringing our gun rights back, restoring gun rights, and, helping pave the way for future generations of Second Amendment lovers. So don't forget to check out those Brownell's affiliate links on gunguyradio.com. GunGuyRadio.com/satisfaction. I bet you guys have been crazy with just orders, not to mention SHOT Show.
Yeah, it's been pretty crazy over here. This past weekend they did a free shipping promo, and it was pretty high order volume. It was almost unprecedented how many came in.
Awesome. Very, very cool. And we got the new distribution center humming along.
Yeah, we're shipping products out of there. So over in Grinnell, your products will now ship from Grinnell, Iowa, instead of Montezuma.
Very cool. Well, also check out the Amazon affiliate link for anything that's not on Brownells. You can find it on Amazon, probably. Firearmsradio.tv/Amazon. Don't forget to check out all the other awesome shows on the Firearms Radio Network. And tune in to our SHOT Show coverage. We're going to be covering a lot of stuff at SHOT. Stay tuned for the website. We're going to be launching a SHOT Show edition website where, Paul and I will have a couple videos on there of new Brownells products as well as many other products at SHOT. So that wraps us up. Thank you so much, Paul, for joining us again this week.
Yeah, no problem. Glad to be here.
And we'll see you at SHOT. And I'll see you guys next week. I almost said next. No, I won't. Next week's Christmas. We're taking a week off, so it might not be till the new year. I don't know how the dates are, but let's see here. Yeah, we'll see you in the new year.
This has been a production of the Firearms Radio Network. You can find more information at firearmsradio.tv. Tired of paying high ammo prices? Want more bang for your buck? Need high volume or precision loads? The Reloading Podcast has you covered. From single stage to progressive, the Reloading Podcast has something for everyone. For those who have never pulled a lever, now's the time to start reloading your own cartridges. For those with gunpowder coating your workbench floor, now's the time to take your loads to the next level. ReloadingPodcast.com or search Reloading Podcast on iTunes or your favorite podcatcher app.